YouTube, what's going on? I got a quick question for you. What is the best car to learn how to drive manual in? Is it the Miata? Or my baby over here? We'll find out. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing well. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful week as of thus far, or a wonderful year, being that the year is vastly coming to a close. And today I just wanted to make a brief video on what's the best cars, I think, and I'm saying cars in plural because there's more than a few that I know of for sure that, you know, that's easier to drive manual in than others. So for me, I guess I'll start off with I'm telling you guys from experience as far as not only me driving, but I'm teaching my girls how to drive manual, and they're getting pretty good. They're good enough so far. For those of you older folks out there that are teaching their kids how to drive, they can run to the store while I'm in the car, not by themselves, but while I'm in the car teaching them how to read traffic, teaching them how to do certain things. They can run to the store at this point. They can go to the store, they can drive to the gym while I'm in the car. So that's a good thing. Maybe like 10 or 15 miles of traffic. Not too bad. They're getting there. I think more or less they get the concept of driving manual. They just have to get the real life experience, which, as you guys know, is a whole different ball game when you're going into traffic and driving for others. But for me, I think the easiest cars to drive manual in, some of the easiest cars, are cars that are a lot more forgiving when you mess up, when you try to shift or push the clutch in and get into a specific gear. And the Miata, I think, serves as a really good benchmark as far as you know, clutch input is concerned, because it's very light, but it's also tactile. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but it's easy to read, meaning that once you put your foot in the clutch, like I have it in now, which I shouldn't, I should just put it in neutral and take the clutch out. But when you have your foot putting pressure on the clutch, you can tell when that clutch disengages, and that you can, you know, shift and do what you need to do before you disengage the clutch. So I think it's very easy and forgiving when you kind of learn the clutch feel of this car. You can pick it up pretty fast. It took my daughter, I want to say 4 or 5 sessions of 2 hours of driving each to kind of learn what a clutch does and how it operates and how it feels and what it, you know, what it feels like to her, because you can tell them what it's supposed to do and how it functions. But as you know, as you guys know that drive manual transmissions, you got to get behind the wheel and feel it yourself in order to get very comfortable with it. And for the most part, she's gotten really comfortable with the car. And you know, both of them actually, they're doing really well with shifting and not grinding the gears so much. And that's one other thing I wanted to point out. These cars, even when you really mess up, I think the clutch is in a very good state of health, even when they grind the gears a little bit. You may smell the burn a little bit, but I think for the most part that you're not really damaging anything when you're teaching them. And luckily for me, I have 3 manual cars that I kind of teach them in. I mean, I don't use the WRX that much because I think it's a little bit too much power for them right now. I use the 8.6 and I use the Mazda Miata, which are naturally aspirated. So you know, this car, the reason why I say it's a really good baseline is because it's not fast and it's very small. So you pretty much, that was weird, you pretty much got you know, the best of both worlds as far as like teaching someone how to drive, because you don't want to teach them how to drive a boat. You know, I got an SUV as well. You don't want to teach them how to drive a Navigator, for example. I have a 2018 Navigator. I don't want to teach them how to drive something that's so huge that'll, you know, kind of scare them initially. I want them to be able to take chances as far as like being able to handle a car. And as you guys know who have Miatas, this car likes to dance with you. You know, once you kind of get into a rhythm with this vehicle, it's gonna want to dance. So I think with this car being as small as it is and as easy with the short throws, like these gears are so easy to get into that it would be very, very hard for you to mess up. Now I can say in the GR86, gear 3 is very for a novice that's learning how to drive manual. Gear 3 is something else. I don't know if you guys have the issue with that gate is weird. It's wonky. Even when you try to shift up properly right into gear 3, it you kind of hit the side of the gate before you even get into 3. I've had that issue sometimes, but for the most part, obviously with me being more experienced, I don't have that issue. But you know, when I had my daughter trying to shift up and do everything and drive, she was struggling getting into 3 sometimes. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes she runs into a gate rather than trying to get all the way into gear 3. And it's only that gear. So I don't know what that is, but you guys let me know in the comment section if you experienced that. And also with you know, with these newer manual transmissions, there's so many safety features with them. You know, like I was teaching her, as us older people know, driving on a hill, learning how to use that manual on a hill was it was something else, because you already knew if you were on that hill and it was steep, you get that one car that know you got a manual and they'll pull right back up on your butt, and you can't make a mistake, otherwise you're hitting that car. So when I used to learn how to drive on the hill, I pulled the e-brake up just to be on the safe side. And you know, that was my daughter calling. And you know, I pulled the e-brake just to be on the safe side, and you know, I didn't want to hit that car. So I was just like, shoot, I'm gonna just pull the e-brake up and cut my hazards on and just look like a fool until I learn, you know, figure out what I'm doing with the car. But now that I'm an expert at it, I kind of roll back, roll forward, roll back, roll forward with the car, just to kind of mess with the person behind me a little bit, to insinuate that I don't know what I'm doing. But that's just a little, you know, a little jokey joke, you know what I'm saying? So nothing too crazy. But you know, for her, for one of my kids, you know, for them it's scary. But I completely reiterate to them, like, these things have so many safety features now that you know, you don't have to worry about that. This car gives you about a second and a half before it releases the inner brake that it has when you're on the steep incline, which I think is really good. And granted, I wish we kind of had that when I was growing up, but you know, technology has come a long way. And I think, you know, that in particular, that hill descent, it's like they knew, you know, what we were struggling with as kids growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s with manual transmission cars. Like, we were struggling because, you know, the hardest part to learn how to drive a manual is the hill. And you know, I just couldn't get that hill down pat, man. But nowadays, these cars like this, the Miata, the GR86, I believe the 2019 and below Toyota hatchbacks, aka the Matrix, the Honda Fit, if you got one of those, they still come in manual. The Civic Si, those are pretty cheap right now, the 10th gens. there's plenty of cars out there to learn manual. The SI has a really good manual gearbox. And yes, I'm a fanboy of the Civic because I've owned a few. But again, I can tell you from experience, that's one of the best cars to learn manual in, because they don't have a lot of power. And these cars won't even scare you. I'm revving the crap out of this engine. I mean, even when my daughter's behind the wheel, she doesn't feel like she's going that fast, which again, it could be a bad thing when you get into a faster car. But for now, you know, it's good for her because she feels comfortable, and now she can try to gain more confidence in getting behind the wheel. But you know, I think there are plenty of other vehicles. I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below what vehicles you think is really good to learn manual. And for me, the Miata, hands down, just because of the sheer footprint of the car. It's the smallest one of the smallest, because I think the fit's smaller than this car is, in a little bit, I'm not sure, but it's one of the smallest vehicles, and it doesn't have a lot of power. And you know, with those two combinations together, I think that's a perfect recipe for a really good car to learn how to drive manual in, so you can make the mistakes you need to make without killing anybody, without hurting yourself, and without injuring the, you know, damaging the car. Because I don't think you're really gonna, by the time they learn, the clutch will still be fine, I think. And again, I'm speaking from experience. My clutches are fine in both my cars. So, you know, with that being said, guys, that's all I got for the day. I think there are plenty of manuals out there that you guys can learn with. So I would encourage those of you who are thinking about manuals, just get out there and learn how to drive a manual. You will definitely not regret it, and it will be some of the most fun you've ever had driving a car, because it changes the whole dynamic of driving. It makes you, even though this car isn't fast, it makes you feel a lot different when you get into a car with the manual gearbox, knowing that you have all the control in the world, as far as, like, you know, being able to do everything with this car. So please let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.